Hello friends, welcome back to another video. It's been a while. I think it's been like 3 months since I last uploaded something, and I'm so sorry about that. A lot of stuff has happened since I last talked to you guys, and one of those things was that my friend had our baby. We had a New Year's, very calm New Year's party with her, and in February she was born. Very cute baby. But I ended up making a painting for her nursery because she wanted a very dark floral theme. So she actually sent me like an inspo pic as well of like all the stuff that she wanted in the room. And one of the things that I noticed on the wall was a picture of California poppies, which I've painted before. So I thought about giving her a print of that, but at the same time I was like, no, I want to paint something, because I did that for my last friend as well. I painted her that little locket with the baby's initial in it. And so building off of that, I decided to do California wildflowers, and I did it on a black background with this thrifted frame that I've been holding on to for a long time and have not used. I think it turned out really cute and she liked it, so hopefully it fits in with the theme. And then I've been going out a lot more with my friends to places locally. I tend to be a homebody, so I tend to kind of just chill out at home or go to the same places over and over again. But me and my friend went to a recycled bookstore recently, and I came home with 2 books. I can't not buy something at a bookstore, honestly. It's a problem. But I bought 2 books that I actually have yet to start reading. My shelf of TBRs are just, it's growing. But on the topic of books, in March for my birthday, my sister ended up going with me to Canada and we went on a book retreat, and that was so much fun. We were given a choice of books that we could read beforehand, and they sent us a copy of the book as well. And it was only like 4 books that we had to choose from, but we ended up choosing the thriller because we wanted to be in the same group, and then we ended up not being in the same group. We were split into 2 different thriller groups, but we chose The Briars by Sarah Crouch. And that was not a good book. But the thing is, everyone that was in the discussion groups with us agreed that it was a terrible book. So I was a little nervous going in thinking, oh my God, am I going to be the only hater of this book? And it turns out, no, everyone hated it. And that's totally fine. The girl who picked it out, the girl who runs the book huddle group, she picks all of these books for the reading discussions and stuff. So she said she read the introduction, and that's what made her choose the book. And I can totally see why, because the introduction was so well written and it was so enticing and it really draws you in, but then you never see those characters again, and that murder is put on the back burner the entire book. It just felt very like, if you could just build off of that introduction and actually implement what you put there, it would be such a good book. But it just was, I don't want to spoil it. I think it's a very easy read if you want something that's very lighthearted and not high stakes at all. It's more of a romance than it is a mystery, I will say that. And I don't typically enjoy reading romance novels, so it was just not for me. It was not what I was expecting, nor is it something that I would recommend to my friends. But yeah, that was so much fun, and Canada was beautiful. Very cute small town. The hotel that we stayed at was a little interesting, to say the least. The decorations were something, I will say that. Very unique. Definitely have never seen a hotel that looks like that. But also a little creepy in some ways. Some of the rooms had dolls in them. Thankfully mine did not, but it was like a weird millennial gray plus 80s, 90s, but in a costume way, like not legitimate 80s, 90s visuals. It was very pop. You'll see. I'll put some clips in because it was kind of wild, but it was also so much fun. We got a bunch of books while we were there. We also went out to a bookstore and bought more books. So I came home with a lot, and I added a lot to my TBR, unfortunately. I'm making my way through it. I have read quite a few books since I've been home, so we'll talk about that later on in this vlog. It was a really nice time. And I think my camera is overheating, so I'm gonna have to finish this intro. Oops. I'll be back. start working on a oil painting today. I've already done the underpainting. I didn't film any of it because I was kind of going through a little bit of a mental crisis. I had to take a break from filming. But this is the first assignment that I did for this class. It's supposed to be a self-portrait. I don't love it, I'll be so honest, but I think for this being the first time I've done oil painting, it's not that bad. But this is the first version, and it's supposed to be warm toned, self-portrait. We're supposed to show a lot of shadows and light, and I don't think that I did that with the color version. I'll show you the grayscale version, but because we had to do underpainting in a grayscale and then we went over it in color, which this class, there wasn't a lot of explanation on how to necessarily approach that. She didn't go over gazelle, I think that's what it's called, like the glazing effect. She didn't go over any of that, or like the mediums that we could add in order to achieve that. So I think there's like a little bit missing out of the online instructions to kind of teach you how to put the color over the grayscale underpainting. So I kind of just did what I could find online. I did end up looking up some YouTube videos, and I tried using liquid as a medium, and it made it very, very shiny. I don't think I like that, but once it dries, I think I'm gonna put like a top coat over it. I don't know if I wanna go with like a gloss or if I wanna go with a matte, but also, do I even like it enough? I don't know. I think it's not bad. I started doing the edges and I didn't finish them because I was like, I gotta turn this assignment in. But this didn't turn out as bad as I thought it was going to. There's also cat hair in there. Isn't that nice? Okay. I also didn't really cover the neck well enough. I was trying so hard to blend the colors together and it just kept picking up because I'm not used to working with the liquid medium. I'm not used to working with that, so it was definitely a different approach. Cersei is bumping into everything. Excuse me, girl. This honestly has been kind of a test piece for all of the techniques that I've been doing. So I like this one less than this one. I feel like this one I was able to get the likeness of my face a lot better. I'm kind of annoyed that I painted the hat, or that I took the reference photo with the hat, because I had to paint the hat and the logo on it. I was like, I did not take a high enough quality photo in order to get the details. And so I was trying to do it from the photo reference and from real life. I had the hat there with me. And I was just, yeah, it looks, you can't really tell what the words say at the top. I don't know if you can see that. But I think that this one looks a lot more like me. Obviously, there's still some room for improvement with the blending of the shading. I think that the left side where the shadows are a little crazy looking, but overall, this one turned out a lot better than the first one I did. So this is the one that we have to color today, and I'm afraid to touch it because I like how it looks right now. brunch. And then we are going to go to a little antique store that I love, that they have a bunch of new stuff. I follow them on Instagram, and they post about when they redo like the store layout and when they add new vendors and stuff. So we're going to go. I saw some really cool bookends that I'm hoping are still there. Probably won't be because that post was made a couple days ago, but you never know. Hopefully the bookends are still there. And then I want to get an eclectic set of like wine glasses. They usually have a lot of glassware there, so we're going to see what we can find, because currently all of my glassware is technically not my glassware. I only have like 1 or 2 pieces. The rest of it is all like from my roommate. So I kind of want my own set of stuff, but I want some nice little like eclectic wine glasses. We're going to see what we can find. The whole I ended up getting Dracula and Blade Runner. I wanted to get movies that I'm gonna rewatch over and over. Eventually we will get a actual TV. We'll see. I need to go on Facebook Marketplace, but I've been avoiding trying to make an account on there. I don't want to go back on Facebook, but it's probably the only place that I'm gonna actually find a working TV. So other than that, did not find the wine glasses that I wanted, but I did find a set of little water glasses that I really love. I like that smoky brown color. I don't know if you can see it very well. I don't know, I thought they were cute. A little more expensive than I wanted to spend on glassware, but I've been having a hard time finding ones that I like, and I really liked these, so it is what it is. But those are the only things that I got today. I'm thinking I'm gonna have more luck finding wine glasses thrifting or looking online. A lot of the stuff that they had there was set as like a set of 6 or like a set of 4, and I don't want that many of one type of glass. I want to make like a whole variety. This is a good start. Miss Gherkin is click-clacking around everywhere. She's looking into the abyss. She's very blind now. Cersei, hi babies. You good? Can you sit? Sit. Hi girl. Can you get a paw? You gonna try? Hey. Oh, that was a good one. That's a good one. She's like, I don't know where your hand is. Hi Goose. Hello. Hey Miss Tiki. They're like, are you giving treats? What's happening? Oh, goodness. Cersei heard the magic word. Uh-oh. But I'm gonna hand wash these, and then I have to start working on that oil painting again, because that is due pretty soon, and I don't want to leave it too long. I kind of just want to get it done with and over with, so we're gonna work on that today. Okay, I know I said that I was going to work on that oil painting more. I forgot that I have some sticker orders that I need to pack. So for Patreon rewards, I've actually been selling them on Etsy now too. And that way you can either just commit to 1 month or 3 or 6. And then I think I have like a full year you can commit to. Also, I find that a lot more people feel more comfortable using Etsy than Patreon sometimes. So it's just another avenue. And that also allows me to have a place to sell the stickers from last year. So I have all of the 2025 stickers listed on the website right now. I don't plan on keeping them stocked. So once they're sold out, they're sold out. That's it. We're not restocking them. And there's different quantities that I have on hand right now. Once they're gone, they're gone. But I wanted to give people a way to catch up on stickers that they maybe missed out on. For the current year, 2026 stickers, I'm not going to list those until the year is over. So I do have a couple that I need to do today, and then I have one reshipment because their order got completely soaked in the rain, so we need to redo that one. But yeah, we're going to package these stickers. Okay, I said I was going to talk about some books in this video, and I am about to finish editing it, and I realized I didn't talk about any books other than The Briars, so we're going to talk about books. This is one that I got while we were in Canada, and I have read a lot of the other books that we got as free ARC readers and stuff, but I'm going to talk about that in another vlog, I think, because this one's already getting kind of long. But this was definitely one of my favorites. It's Death Takes Me by Cristina Rivera Garza. It is a Spanish translated to English book, so there is a little bit lost in translation, I feel like. The whole premise of the book is you're following these series of murders, and there's a professor who teaches poetry who gets drawn into it because of the poetry that's involved in these murders. Each murder, there is a poem there, and so the detective is communicating with her, and at one point she becomes a suspect, and it's like, I don't want to spoil too much of it because it's a very interesting read. It's very experimental writing though, so I don't think that I would suggest this book for just anyone. Very experimental writing, very poetic narrative, and it really feels like you're having to piece information together as you read, because it's not just a straightforward narrative, and the way that it's written is very much like you've opened up a folder full of all of this information that people have kept on these murders. So it involves poems, it involves character POVs, it involves letters, academic writing. There's like a ton of stuff and a ton of different writing styles in this one book. It definitely deserves a second read through, in my opinion, because I feel like I read this on the way home on the airplane ride. So I feel like I kind of missed out on some stuff, and I got a little bit lost. Not lost in the academic writing portion, but I definitely got a little bit bored reading that part, and I don't think that I fully retained the information. So I do want to reread it again. It follows a series of murders, and it's a very interesting conversation about gender and violence. So, and the reason why I bring up I feel like there's a little bit lost in translation from Spanish to English is because in Spanish, the word for victim is always feminine. So these murders are all men, and the way that they're murdered and then displayed afterwards is a little gruesome and emasculating. I don't want to talk about too much on YouTube, so I'll leave it at that. You can look up the review online, or you can look up the summary online, but essentially, they're being emasculated in the way that they're being murdered, and then they are being emasculated again in the way people talk about them. So in articles, the way the detective talks about them, it's very like focused on how that usual script is flipped and how these men are now afraid of women. It's very interesting. This is why I think I need to read it again, because I feel like there's so much around this conversation that could be had, and I just didn't fully understand it the first time I read it through. And it really didn't make sense on what I was reading exactly until I got to the end, because it is such an experimental writing style. It's definitely not an easy read. I think that it's disjointed and it's not always easy to tell who's speaking, and there's very ambiguous names throughout it as well, which is like another way that it makes it kind of harder to read, like the man he sometimes was, or the traveler with the emptied glass. It's like stuff like that where it's very ambiguous. So in a way, I wish I had started taking notes when I first started reading it. But then again, I read it on the plane, so I wasn't about to like get a whole setup going. But I think it is a really interesting read if you're looking for something a little bit different and more experimental. This is definitely a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I think the only reason I don't give it like a full 5 stars is because I do get that this is not for everyone. I don't think it's like the most approachable book, but very worth it if you're trying to read it and understand it. It's honestly very dreamlike and unconventional in the way that it's written. So definitely going to read that one again. And then there was one other book that I read that I kind of hated, but I think that was the intention of the writing, is that you're supposed to hate this character. I'm going to have to see if I can find I put it over there. Hold on. It's A Good Person by Kirsten King. And yes, this image has been used in another book. I sent a photo of this to my friend and they were like, wait a second, that's the same exact photo, or that's the same exact image that's on the book that I'm reading right now. I cringed the entire time reading it, and I think that's the point of the book, but I just don't like books that make that the focus, I guess. I don't know, just the idea of reading through this woman absolutely destroying her life made me so uncomfortable, and not in a good way. And I will say there is some of this content, I'll put it on the screen, and I don't think that it was necessary in order for you to feel for the character. And I really, really don't like when writers include stuff like that just for the sake of like shock factor or to push the story along. And I really, even thinking about it, I just like, it grosses me out and it just makes me uncomfortable in a way that I'm like, I will never read this again. And I don't think I would recommend it to people. But that is just my personal opinion. Obviously, reading interests are very subjective. So yeah, I don't know. This was like a 2 out of 5 for me, purely because of how uncomfortable it made me. The other aspect of it making me uncomfortable is just how modernized it is, but in a very millennial speak kind of way. I don't know. She references Chapel Roan and TikTok and like just current events, and I don't know why that kind of stuff really takes me out of like reading. And I think it's because personally, I read a book because I want to escape the current situations that's happening. So I don't want to read about it. But yeah, those are the 2 books that I wanted to talk about right now. I will definitely have more for you in the next vlog. I need to finish that painting as well. I did not finish that painting in this video and I am so sorry. It's due in like 4 days, so I've been kind of putting it off. You'll see it in the next video. All right, I think that's it. I'll see you in the next one.